Hello, it's me. Yes, me from Peripheral Games. I'm going to stop with a funny voice now. Okay, so it's me, David. This week I downloaded Gotham City Imposters, which is now free to play. In case you wanted to do that, because that's pretty cool. But this game was actually my first game, because I spent like half an hour trying to get into a game after this game, and I couldn't get into the game, and that was just stupid. And yeah, my internet's kind of crap here. It's supposed to be broadband, but it's like 100 kilobytes a second download speed. Absolutely awful. So I can play games, but barely, and no one else can be on the internet at the same time. But anyways, this week, or this weekend should I say, I've been doing some really cool work with the engine, which is making the engine, it's put the engine to an autonomous point now, where you can make an entire game with it without using using C++. So what I've done, obviously the last video, or the video before the last video, I spoke about the Lua entity system, which is kind of amazing, if I do say so myself. But what I've done now is terribly sorry about that. What I've done now is I've made this markup language, XML-based markup language, very similar to HTML, where you can define the levels in. So you can use like an HTML editor, and you define your levels with this HTML type markup language, and you feed them into the engine along with the Lua files for your entities, and the engine executable will deal with it and make everything work. And yeah, so that's kind of amazing, I think, anyways, because it finally means that you can make an entire game without having to use any C++ at all, which I just think is a great prospect. So what I want to do, hopefully, is I want to get that sorted and done as soon as I can, and then hopefully next week or the week after I'm going to make a video showing you the whole new system, because the last time I showed the engine, it was component based and everything had to be done in C++. That's completely changed now. It's not component based, it uses Lua instead of C++, and it uses this XML HTML markup language for the levels. And now the idea is the system that parses the XML files, the reversed version of that will be in the level editor, and the level editor will basically write the XML level files for you, and that's basically all the level editor would do, other than the in-level in-editor playing. Other than that, that's all the level editor really does. So what my plan is, and you can leave a comment down below and tell me what you think about this, but my plan is to leave the level editor for now, because I actually started working on the level editor last week. But what I want to do is I want to leave the level editor alone and focus on fleshing out the engine and the engine's own features, and more specifically the Lua API. I want to flesh that out to a point where you can make a full game with the engine without using a level editor, just defining your levels with XML. I want to get to that point by like Christmas, or maybe not Christmas but Easter, to flesh out the Lua API, because currently the Lua API basically has the transform stuff in it, so you can move stuff around and you can change their position and rotate them and stuff, but that's it. That's all you can do with the Lua API. And obviously there's an awful lot more to do, like the input system has to be moved over to Lua and such like that. So what I hope to do is leave the level editor alone, and I think you will agree that that's a good thing to do. And then I want to start making some sort of demo game. Another idea that I've had is how Unity demos the engine, or demos their engine, is to basically get a game development company to make a little demo, a minute little demo game using the engine to demo its features. And I'd like to get some indie game developer to do that with the engine. Again, this is before I'm going to do the level editor. The level editor has been postponed for like a good 6 months or so. It's been postponed, and I'm just going to flesh out the engine, which I think is a good idea. But yeah, so what else? Oh yes, the engine is getting quite complex now, and I was wondering, currently only I've been working on it for the last 3 months. It's just been me. So I was going to ask if there's any C++ devs willing to help with the project and deliver their expertise / knowledge about games or C++ or computer science, I don't know, something like that. But if there's anyone who wants to work on it, drop me a message on YouTube's, and I will join you in to the project is currently hosted on an online repo, but it's private, so you need to get access to it. Oh, that actually brings me on to another thing. I was thinking the other day. I've been thinking for ages about this, about the licensing model for the engine, which has been quite a lot of effort trying to come up with and trying to figure out what's a good licensing model. But the current idea, and I would like you to tell me what you think, obviously. But I have put so much work into this engine, and it's so complicated that I don't want to make it completely for free and have it so that I get nothing. I would like to get something for the amount of work I put into it. But I also want indies to have full access to the engine. So the current idea is to make the engine completely free to download, make commercial free games used for educational use, whatever, completely free. I don't care what you want to do with it, but it's completely free. And then, if you want the source code and you want to have access to the source code, you pay me a small fee. That's going to be a couple of $100 or something. Tell me in the comments what you think about this licensing model. Whether do you think it's suitable? Do you think it's fair? Do you have any other suggestions? That would also help me as well. Keep in mind that the more complex licensing models require a custom license agreement to be written up, and I would need a lawyer for that, and I'm poor, so we can't do that. But yeah, that's about it. What else is there? Oh yeah, another thing I've been deliberating and thinking about recently is a plug-in system for the engine. This is for the engine now, not the editor. The editor plug-in system, if I ever make it, will need to be fairly more complicated, since it uses Qt behind its UI system is Qt. But the engine plugin system I think would be really cool, and I would like to make some plugins myself that may not be needed in all games, but people can plug into the engine if they require them. Things like game analytics, AI systems, stuff like that can be optionally plugged into the engine to extend its functionality. And the plugins would be written in C++. Just be warned of that. And the reason that is, it means that you could do anything you want, basically. You can literally do anything you want with C++. So the plugin system will use C++, and it'll basically add to the Lua API already existing in the engine. So the analytics system would basically have all of the analytics code written in C++, and it would expose itself to the Lua API, so that in your game, in the scripting, you can write to the analytics or something like that. But I haven't quite figured out how it's supposed to work and how the plugin plugs in and stuff like that. So I'm going to do some research, see how other engines do it, but I think it would be really cool to maybe have some plugins. Oh, and keep in mind that you wouldn't need to have access to the engine source code to write the plugins, so that's pretty cool. You wouldn't need to pay for the couple of $100s to get the source code of the engine. You can write the plugins without having the engine source. So that's great. Yeah. The engine. I'm getting very confused now. But okay, I've lost my train of thought. The video is coming near an end, and yeah, this is my first ever game in Gotham City Imposters. I think I get like 9 kills. It's not great, but you know, my internet's crap, so another game did not appear to be on my internet's list of things to do. But yeah, I think that's about it really. It's really awkward at the end of the video here where I have no idea what to say. But bye bye.